She stopped me in the middle of a grocery store and asked if I had stolen from my dead husband. Before I tell you what happened, if you're new here, subscribe, turn on notifications. I don't want to lose you. These stories travel far. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from tonight. I like knowing who's sitting with me. Mrs. Hernandez stopped me in the middle of the Fiesta supermarket and, right there in front of other shoppers, asked if I had stolen money from my husband after he died. I was holding cilantro. I remember that. The smell of it, the bright green. Mrs. Hernandez had her hand on my arm. She looked uncomfortable. She did not want to ask, but she asked anyway. Rosa, is it true what Lupe is saying about you? That you stole money from Javier before he died? That you are not who people think you are? The cilantro fell out of my hand. I could not breathe. I stood there in the middle of the produce section, and I could not move. Mrs. Hernandez kept talking. She said she heard it at church last Sunday in front of 15 people. Rosa is a fake. She stole from her own husband. Don't trust her. That is what Lupe told them, word for word. Mrs. Hernandez repeated it because she wanted me to know. She wanted me to defend myself, but I could not speak. My throat was closed. My chest was tight. I left my cart in the aisle. I walked out of the store. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before I could turn the key. Lupe is mi comadre. We cooked together for quinceañeras. We watched each other's children. When Javier died in 2020, she came to my apartment with a pot of caldo and sat with me while I cried. I trusted her with things I did not tell my own sister. But 6 months ago, in early 2025, we had a disagreement. It was small. It was about a church event. She wanted me to help organize a fundraiser. I said I could not. I was working double shifts at the hospital. I was tired. I said no. She did not like that. She said, Rosa, you always have an excuse. You think you are better than the rest of us now. I did not think that. I was just tired. But Lupe did not believe me. She stopped calling. She stopped answering my messages. And then, 2 weeks later, the rumors started. At first it was small things. Someone told me Lupe said I was difficult to work with, that I complained too much, that I was always the victim. I thought, fine, let her be angry. She will get over it. But she did not get over it. She got worse. People started looking at me differently at church. They smiled, but it was not the same. They did not sit next to me anymore. One woman, someone I had known for 8 years, crossed the street when she saw me coming. I stood there on the sidewalk with my grocery bags, watching her walk away. My hands were shaking. I did not understand what was happening, not until Mrs. Hernandez told me in the grocery store. Rosa is a fake. She stole from her own husband. Don't trust her. I went home. I sat at my kitchen table. I did not turn on the lights. I just sat there in the dark. My hands were still shaking. I kept thinking, how do you defend yourself against a lie? How do you prove something that never happened? Javier died 5 years ago. I was holding his hand when he took his last breath. I paid for his funeral with money we had saved together. I never touched a dollar that was not mine. And now, 5 years later, someone was telling the world I stole from him. I did not cook that night. I did not eat. Sophia called me 3 times. I did not answer. I sat at that table until midnight, just thinking, just trying to understand how someone I trusted could do this to me. I wanted to call Lupe. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to ask her why, but I did not do any of that because I knew if I called her, she would twist my words. She would say I was threatening her. She would make it worse. So I did nothing. For 2 weeks, I did nothing. I went to work. I made food trays in the hospital kitchen. I put on my gloves. I measured portions. I did not talk to anyone. I came home. I sat in my apartment. I watched TV without watching it. I stopped going to church. I stopped going to the grocery store. I felt like I was disappearing. Every night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My heart was racing. I could not sleep. I kept replaying the moment in the grocery store. Mrs. Hernandez's face, her hand on my arm, the way she said it, that you stole from your own husband. And then one Saturday afternoon, my grandson Leo asked me, Abuela, why didn't you come to my soccer game? I had missed it. I forgot. I never forget. Leo is 8 years old. He does not understand adult problems. He does not understand betrayal or lies, or how a person's name can be destroyed with just a few sentences. He just knew I was not there. I looked at him and I thought, this is what Lupe is taking from me. Not just my reputation, my life, my family, the things that matter. That is when I decided. I sat on my couch for 10 minutes, staring at my phone, my thumb hovering over the Messages app, because looking at what Lupe had said to me, reading those words again, felt like opening a wound. But I had to know. I had to see if there was something there, something I could use. I opened my messages with Lupe. I had deleted nothing, and there it was. 3 weeks after our fight, she sent me a message at 11:47 p.m. You think you're so perfect, Rosa. Wait until people know the truth about you. My heart started racing. I zoomed in. I read it again. I took a screenshot. I kept scrolling. Another message. 2 days later. You're going to regret treating me like I'm nothing. Screenshot. And then the worst one, sent at 2:13 a.m., a week before Mrs. Hernandez stopped me in the grocery store. Everyone is going to know what kind of person you really are. I'm going to make sure of it. Screenshot. I sat there looking at my phone. My hands were shaking again. But this time it was different. This time it was not fear. It was something else. It was proof. I had proof that she planned this, that she threatened me, that this was not an accident or a misunderstanding. But screenshots were not enough. I needed people. I needed witnesses. I needed someone to say, out loud, on paper, yes, I heard Lupe say these things. Yes, she said Rosa stole from her husband. Yes, she said it in public. I sat there for another 10 minutes, my thumb hovering over Carmen's name, because asking someone to be a witness, to write down what they heard, felt like admitting that I was in a fight, and I did not want to be in a fight. I just wanted it to stop. But I called anyway. Carmen, I said. My voice was shaking. Did you hear what Lupe said about me? She was quiet for a moment. I could hear her breathing. Then she said, Yes, Rosa, I heard it, and I did not believe it, not for 1 second. I closed my eyes. Someone believed me. That was all I needed to keep going. Would you write it down for me? I asked. What you heard, when, where? Yes, she said. No hesitation. I will do it today. I called Mrs. Hernandez. My hands were still shaking. I asked her the same thing. She said yes immediately. She said, Rosa, I should have said something sooner. I am sorry. I called another woman, Beatrice, who worked at the church office. She heard Lupe say it at a community meeting in April. She said yes, too. Within 3 days, I had 3 written statements sitting on my kitchen table. Each one included the date, the location, and the exact words Lupe used. Rosa is a fake. She stole from her own husband. Don't trust her. All 3 of them heard the same lie, in different places, on different days. I sat at my table reading those statements over and over, and I realized this was not a misunderstanding. It was a campaign. Lupe wanted to destroy me, and she almost did. But I did not know what to do with the statements. I did not know if this was enough. I did not know if anyone would care. So I did something I had never done before. I called a lawyer. Her name was Miss Patricia Ruiz. I found her online. She worked in a small office on Westheimer. Her website said she handled defamation cases. I did not even know that was a real thing, that you could sue someone for lying about you. I called her office on a Tuesday morning. My hand was shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone. I thought she would tell me this was not serious enough, that I was wasting her time, that people say mean things all the time, and there is nothing you can do about it. But But when I explained what happened, she said, "Rosa, this is defamation. This is exactly what I do. Can you come in tomorrow?" I went the next day. I brought my phone with the screenshots. I brought the 3 statements. I brought a list of every place Lupe had said these things: church, the grocery store, a birthday party in March, a community meeting in April. I sat in the waiting room for 15 minutes. The office smelled like coffee and old paper. My hands were sweating. I kept thinking, what if she reads everything and tells me there is nothing I can do? What if the law does not protect people like me? But then Ms. Ruiz called me in. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40 years old. She had kind eyes. She sat across from me at her desk and said, "Show me what you have." I showed her everything. She read the statements. She looked at the screenshots. She wrote notes. She did not rush. She did not interrupt. And when she finished, she looked up at me and said, "Rosa, you have a very strong case, and we do not even need to go to court. We can send her a cease and desist letter. It is a legal warning. If she continues, she will face serious consequences." I asked, "Will that stop her?" Ms. Ruiz said, "Most of the time, yes. People do not like being threatened with a lawsuit, especially when they know they are in the wrong." I nodded, but I did not say yes, not yet, because sitting in that office, looking at those statements, looking at the screenshots of Lupe's threats, I felt something I had not expected. I felt doubt, not about the truth, not about what Lupe did, but about myself, about whether it was worth it, whether I should just let it go, move to a different neighborhood, find a different church, start over somewhere where no one knew my name, because fighting felt exhausting, and I had been fighting for so long. My whole life I have been fighting to cross the border, fighting to learn English, fighting to keep my job, fighting to raise my children, fighting to survive after Javier died. And now, at 49 years old, I had to fight to protect my name. I sat there in Ms. Ruiz's office, and I almost said, "Never mind. Forget it. I am too tired." But then I thought about Leo. I thought about Isabella and Mateo. I thought about what I would tell them one day if they asked me, "Abuela, why did you let someone lie about you?" What would I say? That I was too tired? That it was easier to run? No. I looked at Ms. Ruiz and I said, "Send the letter." She smiled. She said, "Good. I will have it ready by Friday." The letter went out the following week. It arrived at Lupe's house on a Friday. I know because Carmen told me. She said Lupe came to church that Sunday looking pale. She did not talk to anyone. She left early. The letter was 2 pages long. Ms. Ruiz showed me a copy before she sent it. It listed every false statement Lupe had made. It included the dates, the locations, and the names of the witnesses. It said very clearly, if you continue to make false statements about Ms. Rosa Santos, you will be subject to legal action, including a lawsuit for defamation and damages. Ms. Ruiz told me later that Lupe called her office 2 days after she got the letter. She was crying. She said she did not mean it. She said it was a misunderstanding. She said she was just angry, and she said things she should not have said. Ms. Ruiz told her, "Then you need to stop. Immediately. Do not say another word about Rosa Santos. Do not contact her. Do not speak about her to anyone. If you do, we will file a lawsuit. Do you understand?" Lupe said yes. Within 2 weeks, the gossip stopped. People stopped avoiding me. Mrs. Hernandez invited me to her daughter's graduation party. Carmen asked me to help cook for the church picnic. Beatrice hugged me in the parking lot and said, "Rosa, I am so glad you stood up for yourself." But the strangest moment came 3 weeks later. I was at the grocery store again. The same fiesta. I was in the produce section, reaching for cilantro. The same thing I was doing the day Mrs. Hernandez told me about the rumors. And I saw Lupe. She was at the other end of the aisle. She saw me, too. Our eyes met for just a second, and then she looked away. She turned her cart around. She left the aisle. I stood there holding cilantro, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even relief, just tired, done. I bought my groceries. I went home. I made dinner. I called Leo and told him I would be at his next soccer game, and I was. I did not see Lupe again after that. I heard she stopped coming to church. I heard she moved to a different part of the city. I do not know if that is true. I do not care. Because here is what I learned. Your name is all you have. Your reputation is not something someone gives you. It is something you protect. And when someone tries to take it from you, you do not stay silent. You do not hope it goes away. You fight. Not with anger, not with revenge, with proof, with truth, with the law. Javier used to tell me, Rosa, people will always talk. You cannot stop them. And maybe that is true, but you can stop the lies. You can stop the damage. You can stand up and say, no, not me, not my name, not anymore. Today, I still work in the hospital kitchen. I still make food trays. I still see the same people at church. And when someone asks me, Rosa, is it true what they say about you? I can look them in the eye and say, no, and I have proof. That is worth more than anything. If this story touched your heart, leave me a comment. Tell me, have you ever had to defend your name against someone who was supposed to be your friend? And if you want to hear more stories like this one, subscribe. I will be here. I am always